Hey, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's another Wednesday. Welcome to My Money is Your Money. And we're excited that we're live once again, that we're alive once again. I'm Dr. Vanessa Hall.
I'm Bishop M.L. Hall.
And I'm Brianna.
Hey, we have a guest with us tonight, and we're so excited to share with her in our show. Hey, this is just a blessed day that we're here, and so we're excited. Um, just to go forth. Listen, I want to start off first to give you the call-in number. It might be on the screen. Our call-in number tonight is area code 213-528-9659. Again, area code 213-528-9659. And so we're excited just to be here tonight. Is everybody excited?
I'm excited.
You're
I'm ready. I'm
excited?
ready
You're
to go
excited?
now.
Excited.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. We're excited to have Brianna Johnson here with us tonight to talk about a topic that has been going on for 400 years, for a long time, 400 years plus, and
Prior
so
to
we're
her
excited.
born.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so we wanted to bring another age group, if you will, onto the show so we can get another perspective of what's actually going on out there in our world and in our society. So we wanted to kind of get just a different look. So we're excited. First, Brianna, just introduce yourself, and if you just tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're an excellent orator. I've seen you in action in a mock courtroom. So she's totally amazing, very bright young lady, looking for looking forward to her having a very bright future. We've seen her grow up from a baby to where she is now. So we're so excited and proud of her that she's here with us tonight. So I'm just going to just give her some room to kind of just relax just a little bit. I know it's rough. It seems like it's just so simple, but um, you know, we're going to give her this opportunity to introduce herself.
Just
A
for a
little
minute. Just
about
for.
me. Hmm. I don't know what to say.
You don't know your
I don't
name?
know much about myself. No.
You got to tell us something,
She
Bernard.
say she don't know much about herself.
Well, like she said, I'm Brianna. I am going towards law school in the future. Sorry.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Okay. Yes, the plan is to go to law school. Hopefully, not hopefully, I will be going somewhere in the very near future, focusing in criminal justice. Um, I think I want to work with people that have been wrongly convicted, mainly our people. And when I say our people, I mean Black people. We make up most of the prison population, and so it's very important that we have somebody that looks like us to advocate for us.
Good.
And so I'm hoping to be able to take that role and take that lead and that step toward.
In our society, right?
Yes.
Because we think about it. Hello, everybody. I'm glad. Share, tell somebody to come in, invite, get to our YouTube channel. Tell them we are on. Okay. But when we started off the show, we were saying, and we went from Facebook Live to where we are now. We were talking about George Floyd. Okay. The funeral was immaculate. The homegoing, well, I can say homegoing service for him was immaculate. It was nice. It was well put together. It was well organized, and I really enjoyed what was going on. And so here we are now, and they have taken him and put his body to rest next to his mother's body. Okay, because we know that once he expired on the ground and Minnesota, his soul went with the Lord, his spirit with the Lord. Okay, absent from the body, present with the Lord. And so here we are, but we are still down here having to deal with brutality. Okay, with the brutality that's going on against our people, against Black people, people of color. Okay, and so these are the difficult times. And so we have brought in basically 3 different generations to talk these things over. Okay, because the cameras are gone. The people are kind of marching, but at a slow step. And we are wondering if everything is going to go back to normal. Everything's going to go back to the way the way it was. Basketball start, and we're gonna see if everybody gonna focus on LeBron James and the Greek Freak and all of them, Curry and all of them, instead of focusing on the brutality that was handed down on George Floyd. Okay, baseball season trying to start up. Okay, football season will be starting up at the end of August or whatever, and we trying to see if these platforms is going to take over the platform of our movement, okay, of our protest. And so here we are trying to talk about these issues, okay? What kind of issues? The issues of police brutality, police hatred, police harassment among our Black people, unlawful arrests. These are some of the things that we want to talk about tonight, okay? And so we have Brianna Johnson here with us, and she's going to be giving us her viewpoint of what she see, okay, what she see. I went to the marches. How did you go to some of the protests?
Yeah, I went.
How did you enjoy the protests? Give us some of your experience at the protest.
It was overwhelming, I guess you could say. There was definitely a weight in the atmosphere that everybody could feel. I know me, myself, my friends and I, we were closer to the front lines and closer to the officers. And so for us, we were pretty shaken up. We were actually pretty scared because if you're watching the media, then you're seeing that they're attacking the innocent people. They're attacking the ones that aren't holding anything in their hands. Right. Really? And so we're sitting there and we're kind of scared. We're thinking like, okay, we don't know what they can do. So we need to make sure that we can get out of here as we need to at any moment. And so the whole time it's us trying to remember that, okay, be peaceful, but also be aware of your surroundings. Yeah. Make sure your eyes are looking out and you know that if we need to go somewhere, we need to be able to go this way at any time. So everybody needs to stay together at any moment. So there's so much going through your mind while you're there because at any second, anything can happen, anything. And so it's definitely a different type of feeling. It is.
Okay, through your lens as a millennial, okay, through your lens, how you feel that racism affects you? Okay, through your lens, how do you feel that racism affects you?
Me personally, of course, you're going to worry about how it's affecting you personally and in that moment and here and now. But me myself, I'm worrying about when I do have children, how it's going to affect them and their children afterwards. And so, of course, there's this constant fear and this constant worry that I'm having to battle within myself. But I'm also now worrying about, okay, if we aren't the generation that changes it, and if we don't fix it now, then when I have kids, then they're going to have to worry about it, and it's going to be their fight then. And if they don't fix it, then it's going to be their kids' fight. And so now I believe my generation, we're dead set on changing it here and now so that our kids aren't left with the burden of having to fix it.
So was that an urge? Like, did you just wake up and say, you know what, I wanted to be a part, or was it something within that said, you know, what really pushed you to say, I want to be on the front line and at all costs, I don't care what happens. I want to see a change.
Me personally, I guess being a Christian did take a very big part. Okay. Understanding that that the person that I follow, the Christ, our Savior, he put himself out there and he was on the front line and he was marching and he was speaking. And so within myself, I can't sit there and say, yeah, I'm a believer, I have faith, but I don't think I can do it. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit and be complacent. And so that took a big part in it, as well as me, my mom putting me out there and doing things in my community. Just the people that I've grown up around, they've always invested that in me to always worry about your community, your people first. Your village is what come first, as well as your faith. So to always worry about the things that affect you and your culture.
Yeah. And another thing I noticed about you when you was growing up, you didn't go to a all Black high school. Right. Okay. You went to a basically predominant white school, a Jewish school. Okay. Over on the other side of town. Did going to that school, a white school, really help you to deal with white issues and white problems? Because I'm quite sure you had to have white friends. Okay.
Of course.
So how was that? How is that helping you in the times that we're in to deal with the issues with white people? Because we can say all white people are not,
Right.
Right.
are not
Right.
evil. Okay?
Obviously. And so going to a predominantly white high school, it was definitely an experience because not only are you having to deal with these racial issues with your peers, you're also experiencing it from the people that are in charge to look over and after you. And
Okay.
so you're getting it both from both ends going to a high school that's predominantly white. um, I think that's definitely helped me as far as learning how to react, learning to be able to sit and think and evaluate when you're put in these positions, as far as opposed to reacting. So if someone is being malicious towards you, being able to stop and think and evaluate, because you can't react any kind of way and expect for them not to kick you out the school.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously they're going to have it out for you. Luckily enough, though, my principal loves us, so he was like, "Shoot, I would have done it too." So luckily, we were blessed enough to have a principal that was actually on our side. But it was definitely a challenge.
Oh, yeah? What's the challenge? Now, do you still have white friends?
I do.
Have you been dealing with some of them or any of them
Yeah,
during
how are
this?
they reacting to all this? I mean,
pandemic,
do you guys
this
talk
racism
about it?
pandemic?
Right.
This racism pandemic.
What a time. It's definitely a time that we're living in. Luckily enough, I have friends that are sane enough to know to think before they speak.
But are they for the cause?
They are actually. They are.
Just
I mean,
in
I've had a
speech or-
couple that are like on the fence, but for the most part, a lot of them have actually been out there marching and posting and signing petitions and actually being active. And so,
Okay.
luckily enough, I do have friends that are being allies.
Okay, that's true. Now, did you just wake up one morning and say, I want to go protest, or was it a struggle for you to say, I want to go protest? Or did you say, hey, I see that the cause is serious?
Mhm.
Is if it's gonna ever be a time, the time is now. Mommy and daddy, I want to get up and do what I have to do. I'm 21 years old. It's time for me to make my decision. What kind of decision was made in that order? What was your mindset?
So I'd actually been planning on protesting. I really wanted to do it, but it was a safety problem as far when it came to my mother. So it was like, okay, I really, really want to do this, and this is a good thing that I'm wanting to do, but it's not putting me in the safest position. So at first, I was very skeptical of going out there and actually putting myself at risk like that. But and one morning I was just dead set. It was nothing that she could say or do, and I was just out of there. I
But
was
then
like,
you have
I'm
to look
going.
at the mother instinct. Here we
Right.
are in the middle of a pandemic.
Right.
Not just that you want to protest,
Exactly.
but that you have a pandemic
Mhm.
and all the ramifications. She has
Right.
to look out for her young to make
Mhm.
sure that you're safe.
And that's what
and
I
that your
had to
family's safe, yeah.
realize. I had to realize that it wasn't her being malicious or
Right,
her
right.
intentionally keeping me from being out there protesting. It was that I live in a house with people that are more susceptible to getting the COVID-19, and so I had to realize that I'm putting them at risk too,
Right.
and that, like you said, we are in the middle of a pandemic, as well as we're in the middle of fighting police brutality. So not only is the virus a problem, but that being an issue too. And so, yeah, I did understand where she was coming from as
Yeah.
far as the safety risk. But for me, it was kind of like, what's greater? What's
Yeah,
the better?
the longevity.
Right.
Yeah.
The biggest picture.
Because, like I say, they would have a vaccine for the COVID virus soon. If it's a year, if it's 2 years, they will have a vaccine for COVID virus. But our mindset, when are they going to find a vaccine for racism?
That part.
So that's what I'm looking at. When are they going to find a vaccine for racism? And so I took the march serious because I'm like, hey, I'm gonna die of something.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna die of something. I don't know how, that's up to God, but how I'm gonna die. But the point is, I don't want my children and grandchildren and great grandchildren to go through what I'm going through. Like I say, my grandmother was born in 1918. She just turned 102. You know, well, our grandmother. She just turned 102. Okay, and we still dealing with the same shift that we dealing with when she came along. Okay, so things have not changed. Okay,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, okay, her generation, my mother's generation, now my generation, now my grandchildren's generation, now dealing with your generation, it has to stop somewhere.
Right.
Okay, it has to stop somewhere. And so, how do you think we can deal with racism in our community? Okay.
So, in my opinion, I think it's going to come to a point where it just comes down to transparency. Racism, it's not like the virus where you can administer a vaccine and boom, it's fixed. Racism, it's a fixed mentality. And so it's something that you have to unlearn because that's something that you're grown up and you're taught. This is how you're supposed to think. This is how
Right.
you're supposed to view these people. And so it's going to take some type of unlearning in order for that to be fixed. It's a very hard conversation to have. And I've personally seen it working with my white colleagues, like you guys brought up. Working with my white colleagues, it was a conversation that had to have been had. And so it seems like the conversations that are the hardest to have are the ones that are worth having because
Yeah.
racism is something that we can't just say, oh, I'm uncomfortable, so I don't want to talk about it. It's something that's going to have to be talked about, and there's going to have to be some type of dialogue, or else there is no undoing it.
Because to me, it seems like white folks don't get it. They just don't get it. And so they haven't been able to get it.
Right.
And so a few of them are coming to the light when they really was able to view what was going on in the protest. If it was no protest, okay, it still wouldn't be no peace. Okay. And so the protest brought about, you know, the conversation that we are having today concerning racism and brutality and hatred and bigotry and these malicious acts against blacks and people of color. Okay. And so something had to be done about it. Something had to be done about it. And then you all know I'm radical. I'm just
Yes.
radical for the cause. All right. And so something had to be done. And so I was glad when George Floyd brutality or his murder or his lynching or however you want to say it, okay, after it happened, the people went to the street. But Brianna, one thing I want you to notice, or did you notice the difference in the masquerade of people, the racial difference? It wasn't just us.
It wasn't.
Did you know that?
And that's another thing that I was surprised by as well when I was out there with my friends. It was very diverse.
Yeah.
It was a lot of white people, a lot of Hispanic people. And I think that was the beauty of it, the fact that we are so diverse and we have so many differences, but we can all come together and realize that we do have a serious problem. And it's going to take not just one of us to try to fix it. It's going to take all of us collectively to try to fix it.
But did you notice that it was more your age group? Could you kind of tell?
And it was mainly people in my age group. There were a couple of older people out there. There were a few. There was even a grandmother out there.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that it was just my generation that was out there protesting, but it was mainly people of my age demographic.
Okay, so tell me, some of your friends of the other persuasion, are their parents? Did they have issues with their parents to participate in the protest? Were there issues with that
So
they have discussed with you?
Some of my friends, they had the same issue as me, the worry of COVID. That was the main worry. But then obviously I did have other friends whose parents were a bit upset about them actually being out there. And there's actually a group chat that we have. I'm a part of this camp at UCLA. And
At what?
one of the
She's at the wrong table. She said the wrong thing.
And she done
She
upset
said
the
the
whole.
wrong.
She done upset the whole.
We might have
table.
to put her
Talk
on
about
the show.
UCLA. Now, you know this is a USC setting, and she done upset the whole apple cart. Okay, so we come together for this call. For this cause, UCLA and USC can come together for this call for the protest. All right, we are
I
brothers
like
for the
it.
protest. Now, go ahead when you with your UCLA. You know,
Just don't mention the name. Tell the
Gotcha,
story.
gotcha. The Bears, gotcha.
yeah, when you with the Bears. You know, because the Trojan killed the Bears. But
You're right.
all right,
I'll give you that. But a lot of them, their parents had actually put them out there, and so in the group chat they were saying, "Oh, I have a place for you to stay if you need it," because I know a lot of
Really?
you were protesting and that you have nowhere to go now. And so when I saw that, I'm like, okay, wow,
Yeah.
like they're actually losing everything, and
Mhm.
it's also a trend going on online. Well, I'm not going to say it's a trend, but well, on Twitter, if you look, it'll show you videos that are trending
Yeah.
and
Okay.
the most popular videos per se.
Okay.
And a lot of them are of people of the other persuasion that were kicked out because of their activism. And so a lot of people are losing their homes because of them being out there.
So that shows that those parents have tried to teach some sort of racism.
Mhm.
Right.
There, some separation that you should
Right.
be here and you should be there. But
Exactly.
those
That's
kids
not our
don't feel
fight.
that way.
Mhm.
They want
Right.
to be in a world where we all can be equal, not you better than me.
Exactly.
And so that's evident that parent has to have some form of racism if you're going to put your child out because
Exactly.
they're protesting for a cause.
Exactly.
It's a life.
Mhm.
And that's how we have to look at it. That's
Right.
their life is important. I'm not saying it's just us, but
Right. And they're not seeing it as that. They're seeing it as it's them versus us. Everybody has their issues, and that issue is their issue.
yeah,
It's
let
not
them
up
deal
to
with
us
it.
to fight. Exactly.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But they say that issue is our issue, but it wouldn't be our issue if it wasn't their issue.
Right.
Okay. And the reason why it's our issue because it's their issue,
Mhm.
So, but out of your lens, how do you see racism? Okay. Did your parents teach you to be racist? I know.
Well, that wasn't a choice. That was not a choice at all for me. I actually grew up with parents that wanted me to know about my culture.
Yeah.
They put me in preschools that had us learning about where we come from, our persuasions, our heritage, our dances, the way we do our hair, even the camps that she sent me to. She sent me to camps that taught me about who I am and where we come from.
Mhm.
And so I was blessed enough to not be taught to be a racist.
Yes.
I mean, of course, I believe that we're all grown up with certain microaggressions planted in us.
Mhm.
But again, that comes with the unlearning of being an adult. You have to unlearn certain things that you're taught. And that's okay because nobody is a perfect parent. And so, of course, you're going to have to
course.
teach yourself some things and unteach yourself some things.
Yeah, some things you want in life, you can eat some, throw
Right.
some out.
Mhm.
That's just the way it is in life. But look, we got a question from Wallace. He says, "What do you see? Like, how did the cops treat you when they wanted you to move? Did they shove you? What did they do? What was their reaction
Oh my
to you?"
goodness. They were actually very aggressive. So me personally, I was not touched. Thank God. I was tear gassed though. They saw us and they tear gassed us.
And
It was
tell us where you
terrible.
were.
Oh,
Just
my
give us an
goodness.
idea what city, if you can.
We
What
were
city you-
actually in Santa Monica, right by City Hall. We were not far from City Hall. Wow. We actually walked straight there after they tear gassed us.
Mhm.
So there were a line of people that were trying to barricade us. They were holding big wooden boards
Uh-huh.
to try to keep the police from being able to get to us. And right behind them were my friends and I. We were standing. And so for us, we were right there at the front line. And so we got the gist of it all. We weren't touched at all, but we were chased and we were tear gassed.
chased by
The
the
police.
police.
Mhm. Mhm.
So did any of your friends, when you were chased, did they get, reprimanded? Were they stopped, or that you guys were able to kind of?
Yeah, thank goodness we got away. There was a white gentleman in front of us actually, and he tripped over a chain line, but he got right back up. He didn't even feel it and was sprinting full force. He was gone. He didn't feel anything at all. But thank goodness none of us were actually harmed.
Okay, so do you know of anyone that got arrested? Because of the protest and kind of what happened?
Well, that was with me. No, my friend did tell me that he ended up getting not protested, arrested. Then the following day after that, they went back to Santa Monica and they ended up getting arrested.
Did he tell you about his ordeal during his arrest? Was he treated fairly? Or?
So with him, they actually went through the car. They were checking to see if they were looting, to see if they had anything from that. And what they told them was, we're going to take your friend with us. And what you can do is you can come to the station in 15 minutes to pick him up, but don't follow us. So they told them not to follow them in the police vehicle, but to go to the station and they could pick him up from there.
Mm. And so I feel that this had to come to pass because um, the the reality of racism is a part of our culture. And how many times can we say that? Now, my whole issue is where do we go from here? Okay, where audience, y'all get on and share and talk to me and chat with me. Come on, get on. I know you out there. You just ain't on my chat line. Get out there and chat to me, chat with me, and ask the question or answer the question or phrase a question. Where do we go from here? Okay, where do we go from here? Some of y'all chat with me. Hit the bishop and say, where do we go from here? Bishop, I think we need to do this. I think this is fair if we do this. Where do we go from here? Okay, the funeral, the homecoming celebration is over with. Okay, George Floyd is in the ground now. Okay, where do we go from here? What's our next move? What's our next step? Okay, what's next on the agenda? Where do we go from here? And that's what I'm concerned about. Okay, and so if you can hit me or talk to me or chat with me and tell me where do we go from here, and we can use that as a conversation right now.
Like, what's
where
your
do
stance?
we go from here?
Yeah, we need to find out not just with the millennials, but we need to find out what is your stance. You know, all of us will benefit from the protest. So that means that we need to be a part of it. We need to be a part of the solution and not just wait for everyone else to do anything. Yes, we need to wait. We need to do something in November, but there's some things that we can do prior to November.
Right.
You know, like you said, protest, there are petitions. Do you know, we can find out if there's some petitions that we need people to sign up to make some advance moves or some things that are going on. And then people that may be going through some injustice, we need to find out, okay, who do we contact? You know, if we have a person that's, saying some racist things to us and not just getting ourselves in trouble. So, that's my little vent. Like, okay, so, what are we going to do? Even as a church and as an individual, we need to think about what we're going to do to make an impact in our community. We do so many other things, but now we need something that's going to help the next generation, because if we don't take this opportunity now, we are going to continue to be in bondage. And I don't know about anybody else. I don't want to be in bondage any longer. I want to feel free and be able to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah, and that's the main thing. Okay, do we take a step on the local level? Okay, what I mean by the local level, the city, the county level. Do we take some steps on the state level? Do we take some steps on the federal level? Do we all bunch it together and say, hey, these some laws that need to be passed? All right, because like I say, the marching and almost came to a halt. The cameras are gone. Okay, the rioting is gone, and so all these things that was really pushing and driving this protest have kind of meander out. Okay, and so where do we go from here? What do you think our next step? Okay, and we have some comments here. Okay, Ebony Chevette says voting in all elections is a step. Voting in all elections is a step. Okay. Now, what do you feel about your age voting? Are you registered to vote?
I am registered to vote. I believe that now, my generation, we are more equipped to vote. I know that a lot around our classes, our campuses, there are people that are walking around and handing you the forms that you need in order to register to vote. And so a lot of people in my generation are active in that aspect. But I think with that as well, 1 in 4 African Americans can't vote because of felony charges.
Yes.
And so I think with that too, like you said, petitions. There's a petition in order for convicted felons to be able to vote. And so I believe we need to start there, because yes, we can vote and we can make a change. But we all know that the common vote is one thing, but the electoral college is another thing.
Totally different.
And so if we aren't actually more equipped, and if we don't have the numbers enough, then our vote it's doing something, but it won't do much. Yeah. And so we need to be able to have the power to vote, because as we know, it's our people that are most convicted.
Well, so and that's the problem with the electoral colleges. Okay. People figuring and thinking, if I'm voting, okay. and these few people going to make a decision on who get the White House.
Exactly.
What's the purpose of me voting?
Right.
Okay. So a lot of people feel that they need to banish the electoral colleges
Yes.
because is your vote truly being effective? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way I've thought about it, the way I read, I try to read that the electoral college is supposed to be persuasive toward whoever won the popularity vote.
Right. That's how it
Okay.
should be.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
we know that Hillary
That's how it should be.
And we know that Hillary Clinton won the popularity
Exactly.
vote
She
by
did.
3
Mhm.
million votes. And so if she won the popularity vote by 3 million votes,
Mhm.
that means the electoral colleges should have been persuaded to go her way.
Exactly.
And so these are some of the things that we have to see, that if the system needs changing, let's change it at the ground level. Okay.
We were Bishop. We were watching a documentary the other day, 13 on
Mhm.
Netflix, and it said that we had 2.3 million people that are incarcerated.
Mhm.
Black.
Just think, I believe that once you have been convicted, you have done your time, you should be restored, and
Right.
that should be something. I know you're very talented, but once you become an attorney or get into that field, that could be something that someone could look into to make sure that those people that have served their time, they have done everything that they needed to do to make recompense.
Right.
They should be given that opportunity to vote because
Mhm.
you gave them, say for instance, 5 years. They did what you asked them to do.
Mhm.
So now give them the opportunity to get back into society
Right.
and make choices for a world that they live in too.
Right. Because
know?
not only did you have them incarcerated for X amount of years, but you also had them working for you for X amount of years.
For 2 pennies. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You're also feeding them the nastiest stuff you can find.
Right.
And then you're telling them that, yes, you can get out, but once you get out, there's nothing for you to do.
Right.
And so the prison system it's modern day slavery.
Yes.
And
That's
it's
what it is.
Oh my
scary
gosh.
that once you go in, once you come out,
How different. Yeah.
right, your life is up. Like
Yes.
what can you do? You have a very limited amount of ways that you
But
can
that's
go.
the way the Constitution, phrase it. That
Mhm.
when slavery, it abolished slavery, okay. But the 13th Constitution was saying, beside criminals
Right.
that can operate in society. And so what the masses have done, they have found that loophole in the Constitution
Mhm.
to incarcerate the black people. So it brings back the Jim Crow law, because we can't do slavery for real,
Exactly.
and in the picture of slavery,
Mhm.
but in the framework of slavery, we can put them behind bars because we picture them as criminals.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, they criminalized us in their movies. They criminalized us with their music. They criminalized us in the frame of black people being malicious, black people being murderers, black people being rapists. And we know that there's more white folks who are murderers. There are
Right.
more white folks who are rapists. There are more white folks who are malicious, because there's more of them on earth than we are. Okay. But that's how they painted us in the public's eye. And so since they painted us that way in the public eye, that the black man was a threat to the white woman, okay, so we had to do something about that. And so
Mhm.
that's one thing that we know that is an issue, okay, in our society, that we was painted to be ugly, malicious people. And so I take it like this: not only white folks see us that way, but when we have foreigners to come over in our country, okay, Koreans come over in our country, and they see how white folks treat us, they feel that they can treat us the same way. When we have Japanese, when we have Europeans come over in this country, even the Mexicans that come over, Hispanics that come over in this country, and they see that we are treated a certain way, they feel that it's all right for them to treat us a certain way without even knowing us, because that's the picture that has been painted in society by white folks. Okay.
And what's interesting about that is that term, people of color, how they put all of us under that umbrella, but
Mhm.
but when you really think about it, they don't like us just as much as the white people don't like us. So it's like
And why?
they're people of color, but They don't feel the struggle. They're thinking of us as less than too.
Yeah.
So
Because
yes,
that's the
they're
way-
people of color,
yeah.
but that's what they're conditioned to see.
That's
They're
what they're
seeing that
conditioned to
that's how they're
see.
seeing us.
Okay, that's what our Hispanic brothers are conditioned to see,
Mhm.
that we are less than people. So when they come over here, they treat us less than people. Okay, when Chinese come over here, they treat us less than people. When you sisters go get your nails done in those Korean shops and Vietnamese shops, they talking about your behind and you giving them your money. They laughing and speaking. Why you can't speak English if you're in America? Why you got to speak your language when our black women are in there getting their nails done and getting their feet done? Seem like we the food.
Well, I just saw something today that there was a petition going for a nail salon in Carson, where the owner had spoke so negatively about the black race and how we think that we're always the victims and we need to just go somewhere and sit down. Someone stood up. I don't know the person's name, but they stood up and said, you know what, we're going to shut your business down because we're not going to allow you to disgrace us and to
Mhm.
talk about a group of people that is keeping your business
Right.
alive
You can
and
take
well.
my black dollars, but
Right.
you can't
Yeah.
be in my company.
And so, yeah, they're just like, and I'm going to try and find that article because I want our people to know that we're not going to stand for organizations to talk bad about us and then we take our money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think
And
we have
so
a phone
I
call.
believe we
Someone's
have
on
a
the
phone
line.
call. Hello.
My money is
Hey.
your money.
Hey, everybody. Bishop Hall, Dr. Hall, and Bree. I'm kind of in awe right now. And Bree had said something about the people or her white friends that was marching with her, that the parents had put them out. Did I hear that right? Or
Mhm. Yes.
and that goes to see that the hatred is so deep in some people towards people of color
Mhm.
or black people that you would put your own child out in the street because they
Right.
want change.
Great.
Right.
You know,
That.
I can never, no matter what my kid did, I don't think I would ever put them out. But the way I feel is that again, in my generation, I don't think I'm going to see change until the hearts of the white people change. We as people of color, we plan for things to change when we should be praying for, God, help them to understand our struggle. Let them see and feel what we feel every day.
Right.
And, we say vote. I understand the vote is important. I'm not telling anybody not to vote. But remember, we had a black president and this stuff is still going on when he was in office.
Exactly.
So my feeling is it's not about who's sitting in the office. It's the heart of the people.
Mhm.
Until that heart change, nothing else is going to change. I also heard Bree say that when she was out there protesting, with all this going on, the cops were still mistreating people.
Mhm.
So, I mean, the $1 million question, what Bishop asked, what's next? What can we do? And I don't really think we can get out and protest, we can vote. But if the heart of the white people stays the same, nothing's going to change.
Right.
Regardless of who's sitting in the White House, who's your mayor, how much praying we do for change. Prayer does work. Do not get me wrong. Prayer definitely works.
Mhm.
But we need to pray for our white brothers and sisters so that their hearts will change when it comes to us.
Exactly.
Because and I love the way Reverend Sharpton said it. The knee is still on our neck.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah.
That knee is
Exactly.
still on our neck. For 401 years, that knee has been on our neck and it's still there.
Mhm.
So.
But I think with numbers, we're greater. And that's how we have to look at it. Sometimes one or two, or you might just have maybe 1,000. But if we all got on the same page and we all had the same voice, that we're not going to allow racism to continue in our communities and in our homes, and really just really embed that in our heart, I think that we could make an even greater impact. And I think the numbers, that's
Mhm.
important.
Right. There's definitely power in the masses.
Mhm.
When it's you can have one person working towards something to make a difference, and if you had 10 on the other team, then the people with the 10, then of course you're going to move ahead faster.
Mhm.
And so it just comes down to everybody being collective and being able to move forward in one direction simultaneously, and being on the same accord, and being able to agree that this is a problem that is still very present and very prevalent in today's society, and it's going to take more than just one person, obviously, in order for it to change.
I also read another article that President Obama sent out like a sketch, if you will, of how we can all be involved in making a change.
Mhm.
And that's something that we
Yeah.
all need to look into to see how we can all play a part. And see, sometimes we feel like, oh, we can just get by, but no, we have to go back to that thing, back in the day where it takes a village,
Right.
where we all are concerned about our kids, all concerned about,
Mhm.
what's going on in our world. Not that, okay, we got a little bit of, issues solved. We're protesting. We have their attention. We have the white people behind us, some white people behind us, but we have to make up in our minds, this, what, I'm going to make this happen. And I'm going to involve everybody. So it's just like we talk about Christ. We've got to talk about that. Come on, you guys, make sure that your kid is available to vote. And if you can't take them, then I'll take them.
Mhm. Right.
We're making it happen through voting and making
Exactly.
issues relevant.
Mhm.
So yeah, I know we need to do something about our world. I'm still reading stories of there's in Newport Beach, they were protesting, and they had an attorney that came and
Was
abused-
actually writing down the things that the people were saying, and the requests that they had, and everything that they felt. And I think that was so awesome, because to me, I don't give a heck if you kneeling. What is that going to do? What change is that going to make? Yes, protesting is essential, and that is a good thing. But you kneeling with us, that's not going to do anything. What is that going to fix? And so I love that attorney was there, and he was actually jotting down the things that they were requesting, because that is what's going to take. That's going to make the change.
And we need things like that to take place. Okay, talking. Like I was saying when I was ministering on Sunday, I'm quite sure you all saw me. If you didn't, get on my YouTube channel, Bishop M.L. Hall, and look at that sermon. Like I was talking, it's time out for praying. Okay, it's time out for praying. We done enough praying. Okay, it's time to
work.
go forward.
Mhm.
It's time to work. It's time to get out there and make a change. Okay, my grandma been praying since 1918. Okay, now her praying has come to fruition. Now they got an ear to hear. And since people have an ear to hear, that means God has pierced their conscience. Now it's time to get out there and protest and march and make some changes. And the only way we're going to make changes is voting. And I'm not talking about, ladies and gentlemen, just voting on the presidential level. Okay,
Mhm.
we have to vote for our mayors. We have to vote for the district attorneys. We have to vote for our councilmen, councilwomen. Okay,
Judges.
the gubernatorial level, we got to vote on that level. We got to vote concerning our judges. We not just saying get Trump out of the White House. I believe that Trump will lose this year. I believe that God is through with him. Okay, he was chosen for a time such as this, people. Okay, but his time is up like Judas. Okay,
Man.
Time is
do
up.
quickly what you're gonna do, because you have about 6 more months. So do quickly, because you about to hang yourself. All right.
Listen.
And so I believe that God has raised up a president to bring to the forefront the racism, the bigotry that's going on in our country. I believe that's why he became president, because if this dude didn't become president, we wouldn't know that all this stuff
It would still
exists.
be masked.
This stuff was all underground.
Right.
Okay. So in one hand, he a blessing.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. In one
There's
hand,
no
he a
filter.
blessing. That's a rough blessing to take. Okay. But in one hand, he a blessing. But in the
sometimes
other
it's
hand,
the
he a
blessings you
message.
need.
Yeah.
The ones that wake you up.
To wake you up. So he just straight out tell you, Negro, I don't like you.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't like nothing black.
So
And
you
I'm
know
not
where he
talking
is.
about-
Yeah.
So you know where he
He's
is.
very
Okay. He's from the South, and that's the way the folks are in the South. They just straight up.
Yeah.
These jokers out here west, they don't like you, but they're not saying they don't like you because
Yeah.
smiling faces
Sometimes
pretend
to be your
friend. Okay. That's the way.
Yeah.
That's the way.
You
it
don't
is.
know that one?
That's the way it is.
Did we lose her?
Did we lose on this?
We
They smile
lost,
in your face.
we lost
We lost
them a
on
little.
that one.
Yeah, no.
We lost
You,
on that
you
one.
got it now. Those are some true lyrics, you
Yeah.
know. And it's like those type of people. It's like, man, the throw a walk and hide. Oh my gosh, that just gets under my skin.
Yeah.
Just
And-
like,
I'd rather you be blatant with it.
right.
Yeah.
Show me.
Tell me
Yeah.
where you going.
Right.
Yeah. Then to be undercover.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, just
we
be
got
honest.
we got some people that's chatting with us. We have how you pronounce her first name?
Who was that?
Sister Brown.
Cassandra Brown.
Cassandra
Hey,
Brown.
Sister Brown, how
We got
are you? Minister
Cassandra
Brown,
Brown.
how are you?
You know.
She said voting is for sure something we should all do. We must help ourselves.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm 1000% with Cassandra
Yes.
Brown.
Woo,
Okay.
woo, woo, woo.
Evangelist Brown, Minister Brown, Prophet Brown, whichever way we want to put you. I am 100% with you. Sometimes, girlfriend, we have to help ourselves.
Mhm.
Now we got the opportunity. The door has been kicked open for us to help ourselves.
Mhm.
Okay. And I'm with Cassandra Brown. I'm with Minister Brown. Let's walk through the door.
Mhm.
Hey, hit me, Cassandra Brown. Let's walk through the door with an attitude. Somebody hit me and say, walk through the door with the attitude, okay?
What's
And
that,
so we need to walk through the
TikTok?
door with a straight out attitude, okay?
How you doing?
And so that's what I'm talking about. All right. You know, and I like the way Valerie is saying it. Valerie
Yes.
Rambo is saying he was here to reveal all this mess to
Yes.
us. Okay. God brought him here to uncover all this mess. Okay. And George Floyd was the one he chose to die, to uncover this mess, to get the protests out to get this beating and evilness and bigotry and all this stuff is out in the front. So you know how they feel.
Mhm.
So what you gonna do? Okay. A tree is known by the fruit it bears.
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
That's the way it's known. Okay. And then even in the NFL, let me talk about that. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay. The commissioner of the NFL was Cordell. Y'all know who I'm talking about.
Mhm.
You know, trying to apologize with the NFL. They didn't see it coming, and they wrong, and they stance was wrong. But he still didn't mention Kaepernick's name. Okay, and
Not
since
once.
you found out that he was wrong, and he was wrong for the last 4 years, you ought to go and pay him for what he lost, because we
Right.
still don't have our 40 mules in an acre.
Right.
Our acre and 40 mule. Which way it go?
Oh,
40
40
acres
acres
in
in
a
an
mule.
acre.
40 acres in a
40
mule.
acres in a mule, whichever way it go. Hell, we don't even have a mule. Let's know on the 40 acres. Okay. And so whatever we lost, he need to go back, or whatever Kaepernick lost, you need to go back and pay the man. Okay.
Exactly.
What he lost. And because the whole issue in your generation, which one will you want? The knee of that Derek put on George Ford, or the knee that Kaepernick took? Which
Right.
knee do you want?
What would you prefer? And
Yeah.
it's very ironic how now all of these people are taking these knees publicly. And even when they were on the news with the kente cloths around their neck, taking a knee.
Mhm.
But Kaepernick lost everything he
Everything,
had for
everything.
taking a knee. And it's really amazing because they really found it very offensive how he took the knee, as if he was taking the knee against the flag.
Yeah,
as
he's
if
disrespectful
the
to our
flag was the
country.
biggest problem. But you're not looking at the bigger picture. You're not looking at why he is kneeling.
Yes.
What is
yes.
the issue behind what he is trying to do? And it's funny that now they're taking knees, and
Isn't that-
we stand in solidarity and we're with you, even
mhm.
though we're the ones with the power to change it. We're gonna take the knee.
Oh, now they're taking a knee.
Right.
Why you couldn't see that 4 years ago?
Exactly.
Okay. And my whole issue, I'm with Valerie Rambo again. You got to get rid of these racist old white men. That's what it is.
That
These
too.
McConnell and all of them racist old senators, they are the one that have to leave. They back there in my dear age, in my mama's age, they in their 80s, they in their late 70s, they in their 90s, and so they are racist from the South. And so nothing's going to get changed. All these senators going to run up there when the question was asked, well, did you hear what your president tweeted this morning? And they act like they didn't hear what the president tweeted this morning. Oh, I didn't hear it. And the next senator, oh, I didn't hear. Well, you a senator, you're supposed to hear everything that your president tweeted.
Right.
That
Yeah.
45 tweet, and all of a sudden you don't see what he tweet, you don't hear the buzz in your ear what he tweet. Hey man, listen, you got to
the
get rid of
code.
all them.
It's the
Mhm.
code of silence. They know what he's doing, but
They're
they're
okay
not
with
going
it.
to go against, they're all lining each other's pockets and doing whatever they
Exactly.
need to do. So, and that's to me, that's all that it's all barreled down to is money.
Exactly.
Money.
Dr. Hall, was our mayor Garcetti talking about a restitution? Did he
Mhm.
mention something like a restitution
300,000.
for black people?
Mhm.
300
Each-
who?
each-
300,000.
Each black person,
Mhm.
you know.
They said we're
Give
supposed to
me
get
mine.
300K, and all African American descendants that are eligible will get it.
Well, hell,
Well,
I'm still
Exactly.
good.
I'm black.
I'm-
I should not be
I'm
eligible.
I'm eligible.
Who's
Yeah.
eligible?
I still,
It said
my
that are
grandmother's
eligible.
102. That automatically make my family eligible. Give me my money. All right, all of my money. And so, if he's saying it on that level of a mayor, what you think about the gubernatorial level or the presidential level? They ought to be talking and say everybody done got paid.
Right.
Okay, the Japanese got their money when we bombed Pearl Harbor and we put them in concentration
Right.
camps. They got their money. They was afforded their money.
The
okay?
Japanese, LGBT,
LGBT.
all of those that were victims of the Nazi movement.
They
and it's
got
like
their
everybody is getting their money and their reparations, and here we are present day, and we're still going through the modern day lynchings, and we're not hearing anything about reparations.
Look, who was that? I think it was Mr. Johnson. I think he owns Ebony or something like. He was asking for maybe $3 trillion in money for
Right.
us. So I was like, oh, okay.
My reparation, I need my money.
Hey, family, I
anybody need their money,
believe we have
hold up
someone on the
phone
line.
Call. Hold
Yes.
up on the phone call. If you're on the line, talk about our money, my reparation. We need our money. Like Bree said, everybody done got paid except us. Okay, shift. I'm tired of that. Okay,
All right.
give me
All
my
right.
money. All right, now let's
We
go
got
to
a
the phone
phone
call.
call.
All right, go ahead.
Y'all want to talk about money. Brianna, give me my money.
Here she go. Hang up the phone, please.
Hey, my money is your money. Who's on the line?
My money is not Brianna's money. It is chocolate.
This is Chocolate. Hey, Chocolate, how are you?
This is Inez, you all. Inez Johnson, Inez Caldwell,
Hi, Mom.
Inez
My name is
Thomas,
Hi, Mom.
Inez Berjure, Inez Wallace. Who is what's her name?
I guess all
Inez.
well.
Inez Gray.
Help
What is
him.
your name? In other words, give you your money. That's what you got to say. Give you your money.
Just
Oh,
make sure we can
I
cash the check.
thought the movement don't give me my money, but anyway. So I have a suggestion. The question was posed, what can we do now? And I am 100% support of the voting, but I have another suggestion.
Mhm.
So we, as a people, we run from serving jury duty, and we shouldn't. So we should educate our people that when you are called for jury duty or putting your position, you're making yourself available for jury duty is of importance, because we are the jurors are who will
Make the
decide
decision. Yeah.
on what happens in these cases. So that's one way of being a part, playing a part. We need to educate our people, and with that being said, I think Brianna mentioned, well, she did mention earlier about reforming those people who have served time in prison so they're able to vote, but they are also not able to serve jury duty. So that is one area that we can work on.
Yeah, because when we have the jury duty, we don't, you might have maybe 2 or 3 blacks. And
Right.
sometimes
Absolutely.
when I served, I was an alternate. So I didn't get an opportunity to
Mhm.
actually place my vote. And that person, of course, was sent to prison for 10 to 15 years. But had I
But
been
we
able,
We
Yeah.
have to first get there because we all know people. I know people on my job. They despise going to sit jury duty because they say, "Oh, I got to sit here and be bored and do nothing." But we should go. We should want to go to serve jury duty because that is our right, first of all, and then we are playing a part in helping to make the difference.
And you're right about
very
that. That
good
is
point.
very, very
good
important.
point.
Excellent point. But every time I go down there, they send me home. That when they find out I'm a
Because you
pastor,
gotta go.
Yeah,
You
they
just
send
said
me
you
home.
radical.
when I'm a pastor, when I say I'm a pastor, they said, no, we don't want him on there. What's with that?
Because you radical.
Is that what it is?
Don't tell them you a pastor.
Okay, don't even bring that in the equation, huh? Because because I'm radical. I'm evangelist minister Brown. We're gonna get our money, Valerie. We're gonna get our money. I'm telling the world, give me my money. When I heard that, I might get me a sheet going around the country or something about getting our
Me
money.
too, Bishop.
Get a
Me too,
petition.
Bishop. I need a petition. Brianna, help me get my petition.
Right.
Give me my money.
You want the money?
She not
And
gonna share.
hell, they playing. Hell's fire. They playing. I'm serious about getting my money. I'm serious about giving my money because man, all this that I done been through with these white folk. For the first thing, I went to college, spent all them doggone years in college, writing all those papers, those term papers, those current events, and all of that stuff. And I get to the point where I can be what I dreamed to be all my life. And these white folk turned me down. And I was on the top of the list. I was the number 1 on the LAPD list. And they turned me down. So I got a gripe. Okay, so I have a degree that I can't even use because that's what they decide that they didn't want me.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what they decide. But I feel that it should come to a point in life, whatever you want to be in life, you should be able to be it. We're not a communist country. Okay, a communist country tell you what they want you to be. Okay, we make out in our mind. Well, that's just like Brianna. If you want to be an attorney, okay. And then the white folks say you can't be an attorney. What's with that?
And thank God for people like Medgar Evers so that I can.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, I'm fighting for the people to come behind me because I know how the system works. I told you how the system works. Okay. And it's not working for me. So I'm fighting for the Keelan. Okay, the Keelan Rambos and the Jalen Rambos and the Brianna Johnsons and the Savannah Johnsons and the what's my grandson's name? I got so many of them. I got a lot of what's the first one name? Jonathan Hall. I'm Gabe and Joshua and what's coffee? Caden. I'm fighting for all them. Okay, I'm fighting for them. I went and marched for them. And be honest with you, I was out there teed off. Okay, I was out there with an attitude. Okay,
yeah, it seems like as soon as you get out there, you just get real mad.
Get real mad. Did you have attitude too? I'm out there, man. Listen, Sister Franklin, I'm out there with a stone attitude. What the hell, fire? We have to be out here fighting for something that actually should be all right.
Right.
But why are we fighting something that comes down to morality?
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be a fight. There should be no question about it.
Right.
We're just asking you to be a basic human person. We're just asking you to have a simple emotions and have some type of
feeling or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Some type of compassion, empathy. And you can't do that. We're
course not.
still
Of
having to
course
chat and fight and break glass and for you to just see me as equal.
Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
But there are still a lot of stories out there where there is still an extreme amount of hate against our generation. Even though we're protesting and there are a lot of people that are behind, but there are still a lot of people that have a lot of anger and they don't want to see us. They don't want to see the movement. They don't want to see us be equal to them
Right.
because they've had us, so suppressed. You got the lady that was in New York,
Amy
insinuating
Cooper.
that was insinuating that he was going to attack her. And,
Mhm.
it's just too many stories
Man,
now
they
in
need to
And
2020.
that
scratch-
backfired
They
bad
need to
because
scratch their glass and
Yeah.
get
now
glass.
you have a whole
Right.
law against you,
You know,
named after
yeah.
you.
Man, shut up.
Right. And she's like, oh, my
That's
life has been
embarrassing.
threatened. My life is threatened. My life has changed. Well, what do you think about our life? We're still on the phone with you. Venting. Thank you so much.
And what's so terrible about it? Check this out, y'all. You all that's listening to me, and y'all hit the bishop and say, Bishop, don't be so radical. But I'm radical anyway because it's a scheme against us. It's already a plot against us.
It's
Check this out. Show you how cold it is. How cold some of these white folks are. And I'm not prejudiced because you got to remember my grandfather. My grandfather is Irish. My mother's grandfather is Irish. That's why she the color she is. Okay, so just in case you all didn't know it, my mother's grandfather is Irish. Okay, and then my wife over here, she's mixed
I'm
with
black.
something.
I am black.
She mixed with what they call when you mix with something. What they call that, Brianna? When you
Black.
mix with something.
Black.
She biracial. She biracial.
I'm
Okay,
black.
so I got a biracial wife. So I can talk to her. I'm like Barkley. Barkley got a white wife, so he can talk to her. He want to talk to her. They know he's not prejudiced. All right. So since my wife is biracial, I'm gonna say this. This don't make no sense. And then check this out. Those that have white parents, okay, got a black mother, a white father, or a white mother and a black father, Indian father, Indian mother, white father, biracial. Okay,
Mhm.
they might as well say they black. Because you can't claim your white side.
Right. They're not going to allow you.
Then
to
you
change
ain't
that.
gonna allow. So if you got a white father, you black.
Right.
Okay. And you got a black mother. If you got a black mother and a white father, you black. So
Right.
you might as well get on the bandwagon right along with us
Right.
and half of the
Because-
NBA players because they are biracial.
But
So
look-
when you are biracial, you are straight out what? Black. Okay,
Bishop,
so
look,
that's it.
Let me interject. Look, Ebony says they love our culture, but don't want equality. Look,
Bad.
what do? The place that they always go to get like us, they're laying out at the beach. They want their hair curly
Yes.
like ours, but they don't want to be like. They don't want to. The lips, they want their lips like they want their shape like they want to. They want to do a
There's
lot of
literally-
things.
There's literally trends on TikTok. Now all
Yes.
the kids are into
Yes.
TikTok. There's trends of them sticking their lips into bottles, and you suck, and you take your lips out, and your lips real big, and that's how they get instant big lips. And they got the spray. There's this bottle called Paint Black. And
Paint
you
Black.
spray it. It's a
No.
spray tan. Yes.
See?
When the girl put her bathing suit and it went from white to orange.
Oh, yeah.
And she showed the bottle. It said instant black.
Oh my God! Now
And
you see
it's-
what I'm
there's
talking
literally
about.
trends because they fetishize
Yes.
the way we look and they want to look like us. But when it comes down to staring down that gun and that barrel, then it's
I want it. They now they not so privileged.
right.
Okay?
Yeah.
You see
Oh
what I'm
my
saying?
gosh.
It's not so privileged, okay? And so, but like I say, if you biracial, that is a total heavier burden, okay? Because let's say if you have a white dad and a black mother, that's a loaded question right there. Because you like, well, am I talking against my white dad and my mother?
But-
You see what I'm
but-
saying? If you have a white mom and,
Mhm.
and your dad is black, that's a loaded question. So to me, that's a double burden for them. I'm
Like Dr. House said, when she said, "I'm black." There was literally a law that said if you're even just a tenth of black, you are
black.
still black.
Mhm.
And even I had a black professor that was talking to us, and he said, even if you are mixed race, you are still black because that your minority that is inside of you, that is what's going to be looked at the most. That is what's going to determine your status in society. They're not going to say, "Oh, she's mixed race. I don't care." They're going to say, "Oh, that person is mixed with black, or that person is mixed with Mexican, or whatnot." And so you being mixed race,
what you telling me, if someone has a white mother and a black
Mhm.
father, what are they considered?
they're black.
Y'all black then. Everybody got a white mother and a white
You're black.
black father. You're black. So I don't care what you say, you're black.
You're not mixed.
Okay.
You're black.
you're black. You got a white father and a black mother, you're black. So come on in, just come on in and welcome to the family, right?
Welcome to the
Come on
cookout.
in. Yeah. Welcome to the cookout. You black. Welcome over to Bishop House. You black, okay?
Yes.
We're going to smoke some barbecue.
Well, all
And
skin
the
folk
chicken,
ain't kinfolk.
you know, and you're black, all right? They telling us it's a wrap, y'all, all right?
They're putting us off. They saying, hey, we get ready to turn the lights off. But look, we need you to subscribe, like, and we need you to comment. All right. And then we want you to make sure you like us. All right. Just remember that we're doing this for the cause. We're doing this to make a great impact in our community. And also, we'd like for you to remember that each Sunday morning at 10 a.m., we have our worship service that is held on the Bishop M.L. Halls channel. And you're able to log into that channel, and you have a great message, great word, great worship. So please join us each Sunday morning at 10 a.m. And then daily we have Bible survey. Again, you can go to the Bishop M.L. Hall's channel to get a word for that day, if you will. And don't forget, on Tuesdays, every Tuesday at 6:30, we do have prayer. We have a prayer line that you can dial into at area code 425-436.
Didn't I tell you all she was biracial?
6302. And the code is 311770#. All right. And we will put that number in the chat, but we'd like for you to join us each Tuesday at 6:30
At what time?
every
6:30
Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Oh, see, he wants to mark me.
6:30 p.m. See, that's the
I
Indian side.
am a
That's the
dolphin.
biracial side.
I am from Pally High. Yes. What school did you attend,
That's-
Brianna? You went to
I
Uni?
went to uni.
Uni.
I went to
yeah.
the hood
She went
Crenshaw.
to Uni. I went to
Shaw.
Palisades High
I
School.
went to Crenshaw. Okay.
Which is very
All right.
vernacular and intellectual.
Yes, bougie, if you will, huh?
Man, listen, listen, y'all. I'm telling you, I got one that wanna be white, and I got one that's half breed. Okay, and so I'm the only real black on the show. I'm the only real radical black on the show. I went to uni. For real.
Yes. Look, Sister Brown said, "I'm a sister all the way." Woo, woo, woo. I'm a sister all the way. But look, thank you for joining our show. We've had a wonderful time. We'd like to thank Brianna for sharing with us. And I hope you got an opportunity to see it from a lens, from a millennial, and just kind of see in depth of what you're going through with racism too, because it's not just us in our age, but our young people, even younger than Brianna's age, are going through issues with racism. So make
Right.
sure that if you're a parent, that you talk to your child and explain some of the things that are going on in our society so they will understand, because this is history.
Yes.
History in the making, and history is happening right before our very eyes. And so we want to make sure that we educate our kids and so they'll know how they need to operate to get through this trying time, because it's not over. We're still going to have some cases. We pray that that our young men and young women are covered out there as we continue this fight. So we want to continue to pray for our brothers and sisters.
And what we want to try to do next week, if possible, if we know anybody out there that's biracial, have a white mother and a black father, or a black father and a white mother, we want to holler at you to come on our show, because we want to see both sides. We want to look at both sides. Okay, you dealing with a white father, but your mother's black. That has to be pressure. Are you dealing with a white mother and your father is black, so you're biracial? So we want to. I don't know. No, I'm trying to think of somebody that has that issue. We want you a younger, or we want need somebody to come up, and so we can have that dialogue. How are they dealing with it? Because that's a whole different fight.
Yeah. And
You
so,
know.
yeah, thanks again to Brianna. You have anything you want to say to your to the audience
To the
today?
audience.
You got the floor, girl.
No, I think just building off of what you said, the parents of the younger children, because history is repeating itself, and so not only are they having to face it from their peers and within themselves, but now that social media is so heavy and so prevalent, they're also having to see it every day on the screens, because that's all they're doing now that school is closed. They're on their phone all day, every day. And so they're having to deal with it internally, they're having to deal with it interpersonally, and then now they're having to deal with it virtually. And so, like you said, just being very persistent in ensuring your child and talking to them and working through these type of issues with them.
Okay. And so we thank you all for being a part of our show. Bree, we thank you for being a part of our show. We have
Yes,
seen
thank
it
you.
through the lens of a millennial. Now we want to see it through the lens of someone who is biracial. And so if you know anyone, please hit us up and let us know. Do you know anyone that's close to you? Because we don't want to be insulting nobody, but we want to see it through their lens. Someone that'll be upright and fair. Say, hey, this is the way we see it on the white side, and this is the way we see it on the black side. Okay. And so, and then we got to be sensitive to those type of people, because if somebody have a white dad and you talking all that crazy stuff against white people, they may be take offense. Or someone have a white mom and you talking crazy about white folk, they might take it to be offense. So we want to see that side. Okay. Because all white people are not evil.
Right.
Because it's going to take their race to help us get where we need to go.
Exactly. It's going to take the help of them.
Help of them. We Rodney King with a bunch of Negroes out there, so we got this.
Right.
Okay, so we love our white brothers and sisters, and so after that, I guess are we getting ready to go home? We getting ready to go
Yes,
home?
we're going.
God bless y'all.
Now it's done. All right. Thank you, family. Thank you for sharing with us. My money is your money. I'm Dr. Vanessa Hall.
I'm Bishop M.A. Hall,
And I'm
PhD.
Brianna. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut into it. I have PhD soon.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
God bless y'all. Peace out.